and welcome to another episode of the Cover Vet Chat. It's now November. It's getting dark outside and cold. There are long hours of night and only a few hours of daylight in some parts of Europe. And I'm recording this year from northern Sweden, where we only have just very few hours of daylight. Not so long ago, there was a conference from Mind Matters, an organization that is looking into mental health within the veterinary profession. And as part of this conference, my interviewee tonight gave a presentation, which had the result that everybody who listened to her wanted to know where she works, and they all wanted to hire her because they said, well, we need somebody like you in our team. So I like to welcome tonight the president of the Estonian Small Animal Veterinary Association, Julija Abram. Hi, Julija.
Hello, and
hello.
This is my kid.
You got some support team there with.
Yes.
So who's that behind you there?
This is my older daughter, Emilia.
Emilia, hi Emilia. Can you say something in English?
Oskad sa midagi inglise keeles öelda? No, ütle.
Hi. Hi. Okay. Hi is already a good start. That's some people are saying in England, and some people don't say much more than that. Mm-hmm. That's good. So is there someone else in the family? Do you have a brother or a sister as well?
I have another daughter, younger one. She's 5. And I have 2 dogs, 1 husband, and 2 doves. So
2 doves?
2 doves, yes, white ones. The post doves, I guess, they're called in English.
Yeah, dove is called a dove. A dove is a little pigeon.
Little pigeon, white pigeon, and I think that they were released to a wedding, and we kind of got one because he was really hungry, and the white doves do not know how to find food in the nature because they are like grown and they die basically like right away. And this dove was just like going around our house, and I was like, I should feed him. And then we caught him in a week, and now we have 2 doves. And yes, so we got the other one as well from dove breeder.
Where do you keep the doves then at this
outside
Yeah.
And they're pretty fine with that. Like, we have a big enclosure for them, my husband and I built. So it's a fascinating story I can tell you someday.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, this is always when I was in practice, we were always looking for people who were looking after wild birds or so. So it was not a big problem to treat them in the practice. We always did that happily. But what do you do afterwards with them? And not a lot of people had an aviary. So you have to be very careful. Sort of, if you have an aviary for the doves, you will soon get more birds. I can foresee that. So
thankfully, haven't been the problem yet. We have had them for a little bit over a year and no problems. We do have some occasional stray cats taking a look at the doves.
Yeah.
So, but I almost know every cat by name now. I'm just like, you go away.
I was talking about this conference that Lizzie Lockett from the RVC, I think, was organizing, or very involved with Mind Matters. And I mean, what struck me was there were a lot of sort of, what shall I say, theoretical presentations, but yours was a really practical one, because you were giving us ideas and showing us things that you were doing for your co-workers, for your team, just to surprise them, to make the everyday a different day, to also sort of keep an eye on the sort of mental well-being of your team members. And what was great, it was just a very practical approach. And I think this is sometimes far more important than much theory, what theoretically could be done. And so because you did it practically and very creatively. I mean, sort of the people who follow you, hello. The people who follow you know that you are a very creative person. So both with preparing food, but also you are knitting and you clothes, and you do sometimes interesting things with your hair. You have better possibilities.
Someone has been
possibilities
stalking.
than I have.
I was actually wondering about your hair color, like how do you get that beautiful blonde? Because I spent a lot of money to get that color.
It would be nice if it would be blonde. So it's not quite blonde, but it's the sort of white side of blonde. Yes, yeah. No, but sort of where does it come from? And just tell a little bit more about you. How did you get how did that start with you with veterinary medicine, and then from veterinary medicine into these ideas? Why are you not an artist? Why are you not? Or you are?
Funny thing, because I did graduate from an art school, and I was kind of thinking of veterinary medicine for a long time, because my mother was a vet, and she didn't work as a vet. She worked as a vet pharmacy manager. And I remember while being a small girl, I went with my mother into the practice, and then there was only large animals. And my mother once said, like, would it not be nice if you would go and study veterinary medicine? I was like, Jin, and that was all I thought about. But I, like you said, I am a creative person. So I graduated from the art school, and then I had kind of possibilities, either go to veterinary medicine or to the art school. And I was really practical in my thinking, because all the exams I took for veterinary medicine, but you always have to have this second plan in mind, just like, cover your butt.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go to art school's tryouts, and they were 4 days. So I was like, who has time for that? And went into the veterinary medicine. And I kind of thought that art things can always be learned, and it can always be as a hobby, but not as a main work. And so I went into veterinary medicine, cried before every exam, and was pretty happy while getting A's after all of those exams. And we have to study for 6 years here in Estonia. And after my 5th year, when I did my abroad studying in Czech Republic, I don't know how the stars aligned, but my mother took me to how to say, wholesaler business lady. And we just started talking, and she was like, in a few weeks, my mother said, the boss of this firm, she was like, she really liked you and she wants to offer you a job. And I was like, crap, how would you do a job and a veterinary medicine? And she was like, we have a job for a veterinary student, like you will do some managing of a pet food brand. And it took off from there. And after I graduated with doing a half-part job, I felt like it is very rational to stay in sales because of the higher salary, and vets did not get a lot of salary at that time. And with me, there was a lot of graduates. You would not say, like, you would not think that there can be a lot, but that year was a lot. There was like 50 of us with Finnish students. And I kind of stayed in sales, and then got my 2 little babies and thought, oh, now I will go and be a vet, like a real vet. And then I kind of noticed that with small children, a flexible schedule is quite a comfortable thing to have. And I've been in sales again for 3 years, and really trying to, I do have some pain because I'm not like this real vet. But on the other hand, the things I do and what I can give to to the vets and how I can speak for the vets with common folks or with other people. It's I think this is my niche and my ability, because I love people, I love talking, and I do see and understand different people. And because of this understanding, I kind of noticed that you do have to have a really good work environment to people, so that people would feel that they want to come to work. And I really tried to put myself in other people's shoes. And every time I felt like my life is so hard, like this is like 2 children, like dogs and husband away all the time. And then I heard some stories of my colleagues and I was like, nope, my life is pretty amazing compared to other ones. And and again, I felt a little bit guilty. So I wanted to do something for them to make their life easier. And even like this small affirmation or compliment or something, like when you see a person shining after having a compliment, you get such a good feeling that it's hard to go back and not do another compliment some other day to other person. So now I'm just trying to figure out some creative ways how to help other people to manage with their problems. And I do hope when I have my problems, they will come and help me. But usually I'm a strong person, so I'm not afraid for myself, but I am afraid for other people and colleagues.
I think, I mean, that what you just mentioned with the compliments, I mean, also in a clinical environment, I mean, there are certain matters of simple conduct between people that I think is just so important. It makes a complete difference between a great day and a really bad or shitty day. It starts really with sort of when you come to work saying hello or being greeted back. I mean, it's a very simple, basic thing, but sort of that regardless of the of your position in the company, I mean, it's very interesting. I'm working here at the moment in a clinic with 65 people. We have some lovely cleaners. One of the greatest guys is a caretaker here. And some of the head of the clinic here, for example, he's on the list of the veterinarians on the website. He's vet number 8, like every other vet. So it's not the head of the clinic who would not look at, I don't know, some of the minors or something like that and wants to be addressed in a certain way. No. This guy is part of the whole team, and every team member sort of needs the necessary respect. And this starts really with sort of greeting and, as you say, and also then commenting, positive
noticing.
Noticing if people have done good work. If people have done bad work, that's also, I think, quite important, especially for me as a German, because the thing is, we have a habit of being often very negative and want to comment right away how something could be made better also. But I think that is something I learned when I was in the UK or worked in from the UK, that you ask yourself, what's the point at this moment to comment? The other person probably knows that this was not the best way to do it or might not be happy themselves. If you add now injury to insult to injury by giving a negative comment, this is not productive. This is not helpful. Then rather hold back and maybe bear it in mind and then mention it later or something like that. But this sort of positive or this little sort of feedback that you say here, wow, that was a brilliant anesthesia, thank you very much. Or what I very often say to the nurses is, when they hold a cat very well also, and you know there was skill involved here to keep that cat calm, then I quite often say, thank you very much for holding that cat so well. That was really not easy. And wow, well done, well done.
Yeah, and how big of a difference it will make the next time the same person will hold a cat for you. You know, they will try to do better. And even if you're not really, if you don't like how someone is doing the job, you can still pay them a compliment, but do it in a nice way, or like try to help them to do better. Like if someone does something that you don't actually agree with, you can just say that, you can just say like, wow, this is so interesting how you solved it. I would really like to listen about your thoughts about this idea, how you made it, and maybe I can offer some of my ideas, and maybe we can learn from each other. And this is like so much better environment to start a discussion with, not like, oh, you did not do this as I want to. I'm sorry, I have to write.
Yep, you have to give another autograph.
That's yes, good. Yes, I'm famous in this family,
fans,
you know.
Yeah, you're famous in this family.
Yes, and there was a good point that you had that I wanted to comment, but I kind of forgot it.
Yeah, no. But yes, that I think is quite good. Something that surprised us all, we found very interesting during the conference, was you gave some examples, sort of how one can sort of break a little bit the mold of the everyday by little unexpected surprises. And that was what we found. Sort of you showed us certain things that you had made for every team member, or food you had prepared with, which was not sort of planned, and that was right away giving the whole environment sort of a different context. So I don't know if you might like to elaborate a little bit on that.
Yes, I it was almost from the start when I came into the firm. I noticed that after lunch, everyone went for a coffee break, and every now and then I heard about like, oh, I would really love to have something sweet to close up my taste buds. And I was like, that's an interesting thing. And I found a little metal jar and had the text on it, like, the text was, I want something good, but I don't know what it is, box. And I filled it with candy, with biscuits, sometimes with affirmations, and just something for people to have and nibble on if they're in the office and want to have something sweet. And the first emotions, I think I will remember it for the rest of my life, because I just filled the jar. No one knew who it was. I filled the jar, went away, and then I had, oh my God, this is such a good candy. Who did this? Who did? And I was like, well, they were quite good candies, but and this emotion was like, it was so sincere and so cool that someone took an effort and wrote into the candy box, like, thank you, where did you get those candies from? And I kind of started to fill the candy jar, and I really thought that it was very anonymous. No one actually knew who it was besides me and one of my colleagues who is with me in the same room. And after doing this for approximately, I think, half a year, I went to a vacation and came back. The candy jar was full. And there was like, welcome back, Office Fairy. And they also filled all of my drawers with candies and biscuits. So just to chip in with the cost, because I did it all from my own pocket. And just, it was so nice to see that the people that I've tried to noticed me.
But this also shows that it's sort of then everybody feels sort of also as part of the team, and everybody feels, well, we also have a responsibility to give back the good deed. I think that's always the thing, that you have to possibly expect to make more of an effort than you will get back. But you might actually be surprised. It's quite often so that you start something and you do a good deed, and it comes back 3 or 5 or 10-fold to you, actually.
And you know, actually,
don't sort of hope for it, but don't expect it, and then you're good. If you say, well, I I got a cake for everybody last time and nobody said thank you. If that's your attitude, then it will never work out. So you have to give without any expectation to get anything back. And I think then you might be surprised, actually, if you're not expecting anything, good things will
You'll be surprised. Yes. And many people have asked me, like, why do I do it? Like, why do I put it in from my own pocket? Like, how do I even have time for this? And I'm like, this is, it's not effort to do good for others. It makes my workplace so much more joyful and more happier. It is an investment in the future, in the colleagues, and whether it will come back or not, I don't care. I care for my colleagues that they would feel good. And if I do anything, like small things, it's so easy to pay a compliment or write a little note or like just hold the door open for a colleague who is carrying big boxes. It is so easy to do. But unfortunately, it is very easy not to do as well. And this is where we have to do a choice, like whether we want to help or not, because there are plenty of colleagues who is like, no, I'm not helping her. Like, and it's your choice, but you're not being a good colleague either.
No, and it's also, I think it's not good. Never weigh up. If you start with this business, okay, this is a nice guy, he's okay, she's all right, but these are the three. They never sort of chip in, they never lend a hand, you can do whatever you like, and they, well, that's the way it is. But if you start then saying, well, because 3 out of the 6 sort of are not responding, and I rather than put my good deeds just towards the remaining 3 or so, and the others are out, then you right away sort of start separating the team. You have to give without expecting a return.
Yes, and I am quite sure that those 3 who are not chipping in, they have their own reasons for not doing this. And we don't know the reasons. It doesn't mean that those reasons are not like the good reasons.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to take every person as he or she is, whether they are like grumpy or they are happy or sad. There's always a reason why they are like they are. And there might be like some childhood trauma, whatever. And who am I to judge? Like, I'm just trying to make everyone's lives better.
Yeah. It's, I mean, over here in Sweden, they have these lovely sort of tradition. They call it fika, which is a sort of coffee break during work time. Or, well, not during work. This can be done anytime, actually. Actually, also, I mean, yes, if all hell breaks loose and you're flat out, then it's a little bit to fit it in. But if there's a little bit of slack, sort of, then even if it is not a set, so I don't know, part of your lunch break or your set breaks, a little bit of time in between, sit down with a cup of coffee, have a bit of a chat about something completely non-work related.
Off topic,
ideally. Yes, off topic. Try to extract yourself a little bit from the hustle and bustle in the clinic. If you can do that somehow, take a step back and just for 10 minutes chill and ideally really communicate. I mean, what a lot of people do today is they take a cup of coffee and then they are here. And unfortunately, I mean, yes, we are also communicating a lot by that means, but the interaction with your co-workers or with your colleagues and friends actually sort of is suffering by that. So maybe that time is from time to time better spent by putting the mobile phone away and then have a chat with each other.
Yeah, because when we are in our mobile phones, we don't really notice what is going on around us. And if you don't pay attention, you might miss the colleague who is in need, or a colleague who is in distress, a colleague who is maybe having a really rough time, and he or she only needs for someone to ask, like, is everything okay? Do you need a cookie? Like, do you need to sit down and talk? Like, back massage? Like, I just see my young colleagues and I am so scared for them, because the industry, the veterinary medicine, it is so hard, and I see the toll on them. And like with one of my colleagues, we had a talk. I know that she was going through a really rough time, and I just had a cake at home, something I baked, and I was like, I should take this piece to her with a little bit of tea. And I just left it because she was working. I just left it into the fridge. I said, like, there's a cake for you in the fridge, just like, I hope you enjoy it. And I actually had no feedback from that for a long time. Not that I was waiting for, but it was like maybe 2 weeks ago. She was like, listen, Julia, I listened to this Mind Matter International, your presentation, and I wanted to let you know that this cake helped me a lot, because I was on a night shift and I forgot to bring food. So thank you for that. It was amazing. And I was like, like, it helped, and it helped her to get through another night. And I'm so, so grateful if I can do like a small part of this for anyone I know and help. And if we notice each other, we can do some amazing things. Just like notice, ask, and do. Sometimes, like, you have this feeling that something is wrong, and you like, if you don't really want to see this or deal with this because you have your own things to deal with, but sometimes this one kind word to a stranger or to a colleague can make a difference for them. It might even be like a life or death situation.
You said what you said. I mean, with the colleagues who are never sort of communicating, you don't know what the background is. And although there is not direct feedback and a thank you, it might still have made a huge difference for that person. The British have also this nice term, which I love, the kindness of strangers. And this is something, I mean, I have based pretty much my whole life, or the way I conduct my life, on this belief that wherever you are, okay, there are some people you better don't want to meet, or that are not helpful. But then again and again and again, you will find there is someone who has absolutely no benefit from helping you at all, but yet suddenly they give you a helping hand. And I mean, they call it fate, call it it's sort of luck or something like that. But suddenly there are people that as I said, it's not good for, I mean, this typical situation, sort of, you are trying to get a difficult, heavy suitcase up the steps of the underground or something like that. And sure enough, somebody is stopping, giving you a helping hand, or sees that something, a mishap has happened to you, and rather than passing by, sort of give you a helping hand with that. And things like that, they make again, sort of, sometimes, especially the things that are happening out of the blue, they make a huge difference, I think.
I imagine everyone who is listening or watching to this podcast will have at least one time in their life when someone helped them tremendously, like it was a breaking point and someone helped them, and like, remember that person, thank them in your mind, and pass it on, pass the good deed on, and see how it makes you feel.
When I have something like that, and then sort of people sort of reply, okay, sorry, thank you very much for your help. Also, what do you want for this? Also, I mean, this is now not for carrying a suitcase up, but if I sort of, I don't know, hear that somebody needs a helping hand, and it goes, then my usual reply is, that is getting very expensive. This favor was not cheap. What I expect from you is that you pass that on to someone else, and not only to one person, but to many other people. And if you do that, if we all work sort of by that way, sort of then only good can come from it. And that should actually, life should get better for us all. Then, because if you return a favor fivefold, then great. I mean, you make the math. It just goes like this. Okay, this is now theory, sort of, but it's in any case, sort of think about it the next time. If you like what has just happened to you, then maybe it's not so bad to do it when you are in the situation that you can help somebody without even being asked for.
Yeah, it's a good type of pyramid scheme.
Yes, yeah. And it normally doesn't cost much money unless you help somebody out with some money.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do is paying compliments to strangers. Like if especially men are deprived of compliments, and if anyone can like do a compliment, it might be the only one they had in a long time. And like when I see a person in a shop, in like on a street, and they have something that I like, they stand up out and they pop, like with the hairdo, with the how they hold their head, or how they just look. And I go, and sometimes I'm like stepping like around them for a few seconds, like trying to find the right angle to like, because it's strange if a stranger comes and pays you a compliment, you like, you can't really like, you don't know how to react on it. And usually the women are like, oh no, I don't look so good, like the hair is dirty, and I'm like, you know what, the way you look right now, like you look amazing to me, and I want you to know that. And they're like, oh my God, and like, have a nice day. And
if that comes from someone who is not a friend or family member, who are all subjective, but it comes from a complete outsider who just said, the tricky thing is, I mean, especially sort of for someone of my age, if I see, say, someone like you, say, and I would make a compliment, I have to be very careful, because the compliments can go the wrong way, that they are understood the wrong way. It's compliment chat up line, so something like that.
But you don't have to compliment like the appearance. You can just compliment like, I love how you carry yourself. Like you look really like the things, like with the assistants or with the colleagues, like don't compliment their looks, like the deeds that they do compliment, like, oh, thank you for washing the dishes, like this is a major help. Or like you said, you kept the cat fixed really nicely, or you did really nice anesthesia, or like, I really love your new hat.
Yeah. Although a compliment is, okay, you know, that's also a compliment. It's just so, I mean, it's a question of what it is directed to. There are certain things that are easier or better to compliment on than.
But we have to train ourselves, because we're used to doing compliments to people's appearance, not their skills or their achievements. And I think that this is what people really like, because many people say that I'm really beautiful, and I hate that compliment, because I'm so much more. I might look like good, or like I take care of myself. But I work a lot to be like this, to achieve the things that I have achieved, and the compliment that goes beyond the appearance is it is worth so much more.
Well, or the best way to reply would possibly be, in which way, what exactly is good or is not good, because then you see that's so easily said. Oh, you're beautiful, and then the beautiful, why? What is here beautiful? Sort of, is it just
like why? Elaborate on the compliment
about it also, and then you can actually pretty quickly look through it how genuine sort of a compliment was. Another thing is sort of what happens quite often, sort of in sort of general practice, is this thing with thank you presents from clients. Admittedly, I mean, this is something I always found it made me often feel very, very good if a client then, after a difficult operation or something like that, presented me with a bottle of wine or something like that. My colleague, female, she was very often not gutted, but she was quite envious because she always got, because she was a woman, she very often got chocolate. And I got the wine, and she loved wine. And she thought,
this is
what the heck
shall I do
ask? What shall I do with all these chocolates? So, do they want me to get fat? Do they want me to get diabetes?
But this is this is something that people are used to giving. And when I go and visit my clients, I always ask them, what do you want for me to bring you? And usually it's something salty or like lunch. Bring lunch. Yeah. No one wants candy. Usually they have stockpiled all the candies and chocolates on the top shelf. They do not use them. It's like ask for what they need. And if they do not say it at the first time, maybe they will say it on the second or third time. It's like asking about the mental health. You might ask 10 times, and on 11 times someone will say that, like, you know, it's quite hard right now for me. And like ask for what people want. And just recently I visit a clinic and I asked, like, what can I bring you? Like food wise, and like, you know, we're all on the diet and veggies or fruit would be nice. And I was like, oh, I have the perfect thing for you. And I went with veggies, and I did a hummus myself, and I just went into the kitchen, peeled the veggies and dipped it, and they were quite I think they were quite happy with that. And then I met a representative of another firm going in with chocolate chip cookies, and I was like, you poor thing. Like, you didn't do your background check.
No.
And I imagine how the vets feel if they are brought something they have to be polite for. Like, they do not want it, but they have to be polite. And it's a convenient place to be.
I saw you do also sort of some videos, some YouTube videos on the things you're doing. Unfortunately, I think the majority of them are in Estonian, or
yes.
Do you do them also in English? And what are they about?
There are different videos on YouTube. I usually do the videos in Estonian about the nutrition and different like legends that are going around and whether they are true or not. I do some trainings in English and in Russian as well for my Latvian and Lithuanian colleagues, but all of those videos are hidden, you know, because it's like a secret information that I'm giving.
Okay.
And with the conference we just made some fun videos to like a sketch of what happens in a clinic on a regular basis, just to maybe light up the conference mood. So I do love and like to do new things, try out the new things, and use the social media to like get the word around, especially with acknowledging how hard the work as a veterinarian is, and how the clients can improve the quality of the visit so much if they just do the work with their dogs, with their cats, if they train the dogs. But I think that they do not know that they have to do this, because no vet has time to explain it, because you have always like 15 minutes, 30 minutes or 45-minute slots, and you have so much to tell them about the disease, about the prevention. You do not have the time to talk about the common sense. And this is where I come in, and I try to talk to common pet owners about the common sense and how to treat the vets. And I really hope that it will rub off to someone, and someone will be a better client to a vet in the future. And maybe it will help this vet not to go nuts.
Great. Let's hope that some of our viewers and listeners have taken some inspiration from this little chat, and from the ideas at least we have. There so many more ideas out there. Maybe someone would like to comment, or maybe somebody would like to send us ideas for new Fekava Vet Chats. Then please do so by emailing us on vetchat@fekava.org, or just send a message to our Facebook account, and let's see what that will result in with future Fikava Vet Chat. So Julija, thank you very much. Julija and
thank you
team
for inviting.
team. So thank you very much for being there, and thank you very much for all the ideas and for all the things you do for other people. I hope I will see you soon again. Bye-bye
yes,
then.
Me too. Bye.